Jack McKenney from the National Sports Media Association here. And today I'm joined by Marcus Thompson, 2021 California Sportswriter of the Year. Marcus, congratulations on your award. This is a huge accomplishment. Tell us a little bit about what it means to you.
To be honest, I'm not a big awards guy. It's a little uncomfortable, awkward. So, I mean, I appreciate what it represents. I appreciate the respect of my peers who have spoken out to me since then. But yeah, it's just awkward, man. It's a lot of attention.
Well, I'm sure one thing that comes with that is validation, right? You've been doing some great work recently, obviously covering this Warriors team. Tell us a little bit about what it's been like this season, especially with some new faces, right? Usually we're used to seeing, when we think of the Warriors, we think of, Kevin Durant, players of that era. It's a new era for the Warriors. They've got Jordan Poole now. They've got Jonathan Kuminga. They've got new players on the squad that, we didn't see that they had on that championship run. So what's it been like covering those guys this season?
I mean, for me, it's just, it's been like it always is. It's a bunch of stories to tell, a bunch of new stories to tell, a lot of players to get to know. I've been covering the NBA since 2004, so they all kind of take on a unique life of their own. We on the grind. We're covering them. They're a good team. They're back in the playoffs. So maybe this is another tie run. Maybe it's not. So it's been fun, but it's always fun to get to write about basketball for a living. So it's been really good.
And where did you get that passion for writing about basketball? Obviously, you said you've been doing it since 2004. Yeah.
I mean, I began in high school writing for the high school newspaper, writing about, the basketball team there because I wasn't really good. So, I kind of use that as my outlet. But, hoop has always been like a passion of mine. In my position as a columnist, I get to write about another one, which is football. So we kind of get, the best of all worlds, baseball, all of that. So, for me, when I got to college, the passion kind of switched from covering a particular sport to just the art of storytelling, of finding good stories, the craft of journalism. So really, that's kind of what makes it special for me. Even if I decided to stop writing sports, I probably do a similar thing, right? Finding good stories, telling stories that connect with people, that people can understand, that people can relate to. So to me, that's the fun part. But the passion of, how I feel about basketball, doing it in that arena, is probably the best of all worlds.
Mm-hmm. And tell us, obviously, right, you've been writing about the NBA for a while. What are some of your favorite stories you've written, some that you're going to reflect on, at the end of your career and be like, wow.
Oh, man. I have no idea. It's so much less about the finished product. The stories are for everybody else. That's for the people who read them, right? To me, it's what I remember is the process, is the difficulty of developing sources, the anguish of writing on deadline, the trying to find that unique piece of information to make your story pop. To me, that's the part. Once I turn the story in, that's like a chef, man. Like, y'all eat it, have at it. That's for you. So the stories that will stand out to me wouldn't even register. It's because like it was particularly difficult to get it done, or the circumstances were tough. And yeah, I love that part of it. I love the grind of it. I love the creativity in it. So that's what I remember most, is all of that stuff, is writing on planes, is knowing everybody's writing the same topic and the pressure of trying to be better than everybody. To me, that's the sauce right there.
And talk a little bit about this industry, right? Obviously, for young professionals like me, it's going to be very competitive, right, to get into this industry. What are some tips for people like me?
Man, they are aplenty. Obviously it depends on where you start, but I would probably begin with you got to care more about the craft than the sport.
Mhm.
You will get good at journalism. You will get good at media because you care about being good at media, and conflating passion for the sport and passion for media is a mistake a lot of young journalists make. So I would say care more about the craft, like care more about being good, care more about reading other good writers and experimenting with new techniques. Just really want to be great at the craft is where I would begin, because a lot of people just love sports and feel like this is their way to connect them to sports, but it's not as glamorous as it looks, right? Like, so that's another thing. I'd probably tell you to be prepared to to develop some humility, some patience, because it's a lot of standing around, it's a lot of waiting, it's a lot of being told no, it's a lot of rejection, it's a lot of criticism, it's a lot of failure. So I don't know how you thicken skin or develop patience, but you're gonna need it. You're gonna need it a lot. It looks great, people will see that you're at the games, and people will see that people turn to you for information. But what they don't see are the really difficult parts about, how difficult it is to maintain a presence in your family, and how difficult it is to have a social life or a personal life, or you know, how difficult it is to live when you aren't getting paid enough yet, because you aren't good enough yet to command that kind of money. So there's that other element that I would warn against. Like, this ain't all pretty over here. So you got to be ready for a little struggle. And the people who can handle that tend to be the people who survive.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, that's great advice. One of the things I also heard, following off what you're saying, advice-wise, is not to just write about one sport, write about more than one sport, and focus on, like you're saying, crafting stories, learning how to write, and not just being intertwined to one sport, because, that makes you kind of one-dimensional. So I definitely agree with that advice.
Absolutely, great advice. I would say don't even stick to sports. Venture out to all kind of other stuff, because it's the process that matters, and the process needs to be mastered, not the sport per se, but the process. Now, there are people who are just incredibly knowledgeable about a particular sport, right? Like, I'm never going to be a sabermetrics specialist. So those people do have value. And if you're one of those, there is a lane. There is a lane for you. But for the people who want to be, uh, media experts or journalism, professionals, it's about the craft. It's about the vocation. So yeah, as diverse as you can. I started off covering high school girls water polo. So you know, branch out.
Damn. Um, so before we leave here today, are there any mentors, are there any teachers that you want to thank that may have helped you have a role in this award?
Yeah, they are. Man, you ain't got enough time, man. You didn't have enough time. One of the things that winning this award allowed me to do was to reflect, like, to like kind of take the moment to watch. I just know that I'm not supposed to be here. I know that it was kind of designed for me not to be here. So I'm really appreciative of all the people who decided to support. It's really difficult being an African American stepping into this industry. It was especially difficult being a young Black dude from the hood who came from nothing stepping into this industry. So from Mark Spears, who looked out for me from the beginning, Mike Silver, who put the career possibility in my head. Like, I mean, even to my high school English teacher, Madeline Pyatt, who got me on the school newspaper, and so on and so on. I was a product of Sports Journalism Institute with Leon Carter and Sandy Rosenbush. So I just feel like there's just too many people to name, but mostly I would love to shout out the people who I grew up reading, the people who made me, Ralph Riley, the people who made me want to get into this, Phil Taylor, people like that who kind of set the bar and, showed me that, man, this little ghetto kid could figure out, with a few words could kind of use them. So I appreciate those people, the J.A. Adondes of the world, the Howard Bryants, right? Like, those are the people who probably deserve this way more than me.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great answer. Mr. Thompson, thank you so much for coming on today, and congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you in a press box somewhere.